Hello, everyone. I hope you can hear me. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Crypto Miners Twitter Space. My name is Mary, and I will be your host today. And I see we have Larry here already. We have an award-winning project with us today. And when I read on your webpage, I see that you have a mission to connect the real world with Web3. And the project is IoTeX, and I'm very pleased to welcome you, Larry Pang, Head of Business Development, to talk about your project here. Very welcome.
Excited to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
Hi,
I know
Larry.
it's a crazy time in crypto and just macro in general, but the building goes on. And I think now more than ever, we need trust and transparency in all stages or all categories of life, from finance to also what we do in the real world and what devices and data that we trust. So as everything is still unraveling with this whole FTX situation, um, IoTex's mission still holds more true than ever. So excited to share what we focus on in the Web3 space and some of the technology that we just launched that will make the world a more trusted and better place.
Very nice. Yeah, I'm looking forward to this very much. I was scanning through your web page a little bit. It seems to be a very vast project and lots to cover. So why don't we start by you have a little short introduction of yourself, Larry, who you are and how long you have been into crypto and what you are to the project, how you help the project and when you started there.
Sure, sounds great. Yeah, so my name is Larry Pang. My background is I graduated from MIT in 2013 and spent 5 years in management consulting at Oliver Wyman, which is a strategy consulting firm that mainly works with large financial institutions and financial market utilities. At Oliver Wyman, I did 20 plus projects for Fortune 500 clients, mainly focused on digital transformation. And through that process, we did a lot of buy versus build assessments and technology planning for large banks and exchanges in the traditional. And through that, we started to look into some blockchain vendors back in 2016, not necessarily cryptocurrency, but more blockchain. And that's my first introduction into the blockchain space through my work at Oliver Wyman. Simultaneously, was looking into some Bitcoin and Ethereum investments back in 2016, 2017. And the opportunity came up in late 2017 to join IoTeX as one of the founding team members. And since then, we've been building nonstop. My role at IoTeX when I joined in early 2018 was very much across the board. We were a scrappy startup with a big vision, fundraising, building the team, building the community, building the initial technology. And over the past 5 years, we've really built something special, not just a platform, but now an ecosystem of applications that share the same vision as us to connect the real world to Web3. And throughout this call, would love to dive more into what exactly IoTeX is, why we are unique in this space, and some of the applications that we're seeing to sprout up and being built on top of our platform. But that's a little bit about me.
Thank you very much, Larry. Perfect. So let's also dive in right away. Maybe a brief introduction first, like an elevator pitch, maybe about the project, what it is and what it stands for.
Sure. Yeah, the elevator pitch of IoTeX is, we started as a layer one blockchain. Um, you know, There's a lot of layer one blockchains out there today. Similar to those, IoTeX is EVM compatible. We're cheap, we're fast, we're decentralized. But what really differentiates us is we have a big focus on pairing this blockchain technology with technology around the Internet of Things, or IoT. For those that don't know about the Internet of Things, it's really all these billions of devices around us that are gathering data from the environment, gathering data about ourselves. Just think about and just look around the room that you're sitting in right now. There's tons and tons of devices that are being connected to the internet, and more inanimate devices being paired with sensors to help them optimize their operations. So whether it's your car and the infotainment system that's now Wi-Fi connected, or your healthcare wearable that's tracking your health data, or your security systems at home and at work, or all the different sensors from agriculture to aviation to supply chain. By 2030, there's going to be 100 billion internet connected devices globally. McKinsey estimates that this Internet of Things will be valued at $12.6 trillion dollars and producing 80 zettabytes of data. That's 80 trillion gigabytes of data. And, just thinking about these numbers is kind of unfathomable, but it's kind of going to happen whether we like it or not. The world is becoming more and more digitized by the day. And we have to ask ourselves, if we know these numbers to be true, $12.6 trillion dollars in value, 100 billion devices, 80 trillion gigabytes of data, who's going to own all of this stuff? If we don't do anything and we continue to be slaves to big tech, then all of this is going to be all of this value and devices and data are not going to be owned by everyday people and businesses, but rather the gatekeepers of traditional technology. So IoTeX sees a huge opportunity to use Web3 and blockchain to ensure that everyday people can own their devices, own their data, and share in this multi-trillion dollar value that's going to be generated by the Internet of Things. I think when you think about this intersection of blockchain and IoT, there's two ways to think about it. One is how blockchain can impact the Internet of Things, and the other is how Internet of Things can impact blockchain. So uh, the issues with the Internet of Things today are actually things that blockchain has built in natively. Things like security, privacy, interoperability. These are all things that blockchain can help the current and future Internet of Things with. But the other way, I think, is also extremely important to think about how the Internet of Things can impact blockchain. We all know that blockchains are just data structures and platforms. Without the necessary information, blockchains don't understand context about the real world. And the Internet of Things, all these billions of devices that are capturing details about our real world activities, can be a very important source for new types of decentralized applications. We are already starting to see a few of these applications being built, things like StepN, which gather your health data in order to incentivize more healthy living. Things like Helium, which incentivize people to purchase and install hotspots in order to create a global connectivity network. And even in IoTeX, we're starting to see all sorts of devices being paired with decentralized applications where devices are the data source for these applications. And we're basically building a brand new design space for people to tie real world activities to digital incentives and digital tokens as rewards for those real world activities. So I think everyone listening on this call probably has a different use case in mind, depending on what types of devices or what types of lifestyles they live. But the important thing to know is Web3 is all about incentives. In the past, these incentives have been digital actions in order to receive digital rewards. But what IoTeX is really enabling is real world actions to be incentivized with digital rewards. And I think I'll pause there. That was a long elevator pitch, but hopefully everyone sees the opportunity here.
Yeah, we're up at the clouds now, but thank you so much, Larry. Uh, yeah, I mean, to make it even shorter in my mind, then it is like you are trying to give back the power to the people, to the users, and to give them power over their own data, which we now know that lots of big companies are collecting our data and take also the profit from it. Is that
Absolutely.
correct?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think people are most familiar with that concept in the social media space, right? Where, you know,
Mm-hmm.
all these free products and free services that are being offered from Instagram to Facebook to WhatsApp to et cetera. We know that big tech is gathering our data and creating digital profiles of us about our online activities in order to serve us advertisements and things like this, right? But that problem, I think, is very small when compared to in the future, we have big companies like Amazon and Google now selling smart home devices. Amazon has a whole suite of smart home devices, from the Roomba vacuum
Yeah.
to Amazon Alexa. I think if I say Alexa too loud, someone's
She will
actual
come.
Alexa at home will be listening to us and sensing
Yeah.
us, and the Ring cameras that know when we leave our homes and when we walk our dogs. And, by combining this real world data with our digital data, it provides an even deeper understanding of who we are as people. And that's just not okay, right? We have to think about alternatives to this crazy future that, the big tech companies are proposing for us. So that's really the spirit of blockchain and Web3, is to enable all of the amazing opportunities that technology has provided us over the past 2 decades, but doing it in a way that's user centric and user owned, right? Where not only do we benefit in the value of and the profits that these industries are generating, but also to ensure that we have the control to opt in to these ecosystems, right? So users are not the product. Um, we are the owners and the participants in this new Web3 machine economy.
Yeah. So you have already some products also out that you can use right now. Is that correct?
Yeah, absolutely. IoTeX has had a long journey over the past 5 years. We
Mm-hmm.
launched our mainnet in 2019, and it's been running extremely well since then. The mainnet has never gone down, it's never stalled. So it's really a testament to our sophisticated technology on the blockchain side. But very uniquely, our team consists of um, some of the most sophisticated Internet of Things technologists and business developers out there as well. We started by building our own products on our own platform. And that was really a way for us to know how to build products ourselves before we build infrastructure and protocols that allow other people to build similar products. So, two products you can purchase right now are, one is called UCAM. It's a private security home security camera. We actually launched that in early 2020, which, as far as real world products that are powered by blockchain, I think it was probably one of the first ever to exist. And
Can
that won
anyone buy
the
that? No.
yeah, anyone can buy that today,
No.
even on Amazon.com or other retailers globally. And it doesn't stream any data to the blockchain, but it does use a Web3 login to ensure that only users that have the private key can decrypt their videos. So it's more branded as a privacy camera. Um, and that actually won the CES Innovation Award in 2020. And, just looking at all the progress that's happened in crypto over the past 2 years, it's really amazing that we actually launched that product over 2 years ago when not much was happening on blockchain at the time.
Yeah.
Since then, we've built another product ourselves. It's called Pebble Tracker, in partnership with a large chip manufacturer called Nordic Semiconductor. And this product actually does stream data directly to decentralized applications. It comes with many sensors. It was originally built for more asset tracking and supply chain solutions. It includes GPS, temperature, humidity, air quality, motion, vibration, and light sensors, and really provides a 360 view of whatever asset is being tracked. And importantly, it provides a lot of security and trust in the data, but it can also feed decentralized applications to settle things like service level agreements or automated payments or things like this. But again, these products that we've built are not meant to, be the only things that are powered by IoTeX. We really did these products so we can understand, how do we connect devices to the blockchain for the first time? How do we make sure these devices can have an on-chain identity so they're trusted? And how can we make sure that the data coming from these devices is verifiable, so when we put them into a automation contract or a smart contract, then the results are trusted as well, right? So this kind of incorporation of two very frontier technologies, IoT and blockchain, it's not easy to do, right? It's not like forking a DeFi protocol and adding a different logo and calling it a day. We're really innovating and creating the first of its kind of solutions in the form of these two products. But what's really exciting now is we've just launched a brand new layer 2 protocol called WebStream. And WebStream is, in my opinion, the synthesis of all the things we've learned in this blockchain and IoT space in the past 5 years, where now this is a developer product that anyone can go and provision a WebStream node that and connect all sorts of devices and data to their dApps. So I think that's really the journey of IoTeX to date. You know, we built our layer one blockchain. We built the first blockchain and IoT products that really worked. And we've taken all of those lessons and put it into a brand new protocol that lets builders do the same things that we've done for the past 5 years. So it's really opening up a brand new design space for Web3 builders to incorporate real world data, real world devices, real world activities into decentralized applications for the first time. Anyone that wants to take a look at WebStream,
Right.
it is w3bstream.com.
All right. Cool. So I think we need to also talk a little bit about the team behind this, because it seems to me you have really talented people who works with you on this from all over the big companies' names and things like that. Can you touch a bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, IoTeX is now a team of over 50, and we're located all over the world. But the starting point for this was really the founding team. You know, the co-founders, there's three co-founders, Ralan Chai, Kevin Guo, and Jing Sun. Ralan comes from Google. He's a PhD in cryptography from University of Waterloo, one of the top tech institutions in the world. And he spent over 10 years in Silicon Valley, most recently at Google and Uber, leading their cryptography team. So Ralan is really driving a lot of the technical efforts and now business efforts of the IoTeX project. Then we have Kevin Guo. He was an early team member at Facebook, was there pre-IPO, and was working on a lot of products along with Mark Zuckerberg at that time. And finally, we have Jing Sun, who comes from the investing world. She was a managing partner at Sparkling Capital, which is a large VC fund in Silicon Valley investing in different types of frontier technologies. And I think there's like a common theme across the co-founders that really stretches through the rest of the company. One theme is excellence, right? You know, we come from some of the largest traditional companies in the world, and you know, taking all the lessons we've learned from hardcore engineering and detail orientedness, we've applied that to the blockchain space, and it's really why I think IoTeX as a platform has never gone down or experienced any major hacks, is because of that detail orientedness and technical sophistication. The other trend you see is a lot of us came from Web 2 companies and have now devoted ourselves to the Web 3 space. And I think seeing some of the technologies firsthand from Google, Facebook, even my clients at Oliver Wyman when I was during my consulting days, you start to see a lot of issues with how they treat users' data and how they and kind of the philosophies of their kind of capitalism focused business model. So it's interesting to know that, you know, we came from that world. We saw the issues firsthand, and we decided to change them in this kind of Web3 format. So the team again is now 50 plus globally. We have team members in all continents and all walks of life, and planning to grow the team probably by 2x over the next year or so to really bring this vision to life even faster.
That's awesome. That's a really great team. And I think it's important also to know that it's a stable team, although you have been so long now in the space, so we can rely on you staying on, I think. So the use case of the coin, because you have a coin, a governance coin, right? And
Yes. Mm-hmm.
what is the utility for that if people wants to go out now and buy it? No financial advice, but do your own research and all of that. What is the utility?
Yeah, so the IOTEX token, similar to Ethereum, right? It's a layer one coin. It's a native token of our blockchain, and it's
Mm-hmm.
used for gas fees and governance. Now with WebStream, we intend to extend the IoTeX token's utility to this WebStream protocol to provision new nodes and to register devices on chain. So, you know, similarly to some of the other layer one blockchains that maybe cater to a specific use case or category of use cases. For IoTeX, what's really important for us is the number of devices and the amount of data that those devices are bringing to the chain. So the IoTeX token, in addition to processing your traditional smart contracts and transactions, will also be used to, in the future, register all types of devices to the blockchain and basically purchase an identity for your device, which is important. Just thinking about, all the different user identities on a blockchain today, from day one, IoTeX has believed that machines and devices are going to be the biggest users of blockchains in the future, not people. And the math just checks out because, by 2030, as I mentioned, there's going to be 100 billion devices in the world. They're going to outnumber humans 10 to 1. And if you think about one human owning one Web3 user owning several devices, then you can just see the scale of the Internet of Things in a Web3 fashion, right? So the utility, the IoTeX token, is very similar to a lot of the ones you see as the native coins on layer one blockchains, but also caters to this very specific niche of IoTeX to manage devices and manage the data from devices.
Yeah, okay. So your roadmap ahead now, you have accomplished lots of things already, and I guess you have lots of things still to do. Can you tell us a little bit about the future and how you think it will go, or what's next on the agenda?
Yeah, absolutely. IoTeX, like I just mentioned, we just launched WebStream, which is has been under development for over a year. And over the past year, we've not only been building out this permissionless protocol, but we've also been working with a lot of all types of companies, from Web3 startups to traditional device manufacturers to Web2 enterprises, to figure out how WebStream can apply to their visions about what they want to build in the future. So I think from here until the next year, it's really going to be about WebStream adoption. And it's important to know that IoTeX, we are infrastructure providers, but we also have a lot of understanding of how these real world to Web3 applications work. So personally, I'm incubating several Web2 enterprises already to create brand new protocols. And it's really fascinating to see. We see a lot of Web2 companies now adopting NFTs, but I think the next big wave of Web3 adoption you're going to see is coming from a lot of these large device manufacturers that want to use tokenomics to incentivize the growth in their number of devices, the growth in the value of the data that's collected by these devices, and ultimately create their own protocols that incorporate a lot of the technology that we are proposing. In addition to that, I think just like every other layer one, we focus on how do we make the job of builders easier? How do we make creating new innovations at the application layer easier for builders, right? We work on the infrastructure layer. I would say the L1 and the L2 layers are what IoTeX is really focused on, but we can only do that by working with application builders and hearing their requirements for what they need to build what they want. Some of the categories of use cases that we work a lot in these days are GPS location, kind of the concept of submitting your location in order to earn an NFT to say, if you visited a concert or a pop-up shop at a specific place at a specific time, you can earn an NFT or a soulbound token that shows you were there. We also do a lot of things in the healthcare space around not only incentivizing people to submit their wearables data in order to prove that they are improving their health or getting their daily fitness goals done, but also creating data products from all of the data that's collected across users. How do we put together the health data from thousands and thousands of users in a decentralized way in order to create data products where you can be a fractional owner of some of these data sets and earn revenues for providing your anonymized health data, unlike the traditional Web2 companies where we use Apple Watches and we use Fitbit devices, but we don't share in any of the revenues that those large companies do. They keep all the revenue for themselves. We also do a lot of things in the weather space, in the automotive space, and the smart city space. So you can kind of see how using blockchain not only to incentivize everyday people to do things and improve their lifestyles, but also to create data products from all these billions of devices. I would say that's our big goal for 2023 is to empower the first killer applications in this real world to Web3 space.
So is it also like because the white paper has like some kind of vision, it seems, uh, to suggest a user case in the future, and that could be like a link to or link metaverses into the real world. Is that something that you are thinking to do? For example, maybe if I'm in, I don't really know because I've never been in a metaverse yet, but in the future, I guess we will be there and have live maybe part of our lives there, and that's what gamers do already today, I think.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
to order a pizza or something from there and get it delivered from your home, or I don't know what kind of user case could it be like together with to connect the metaverses with the real world.
That's a really good point. I think as our digital worlds and our real worlds are starting to look, the gray area or the line between our digital worlds and our real worlds are getting blurred, right? So,
Hmm.
one big piece of what IoTeX is trying to do is gamify the real world, right? A lot of the things about Web3 and its potential to change human behavior or society's behavior through positive incentives instead of negative penalties, right? We live in such a penalty focused world. You do something bad,
Yeah,
you get penalized. But what if we could have more, everyone at their job probably has a bonus waiting for them if they do a great job at their workplace. But what if we could have this on a daily basis, right? For those of you guys that are struggling to go to the gym every day, maybe that, a token incentive that's waiting for you if you do complete your workout that's paid by your insurance provider or even paid by your employer or your friends or family. This is a great way to change your behavior. And that's one thing that I think is really important about what IoTeX is doing is changing the way that we do things in the real world in a positive way. You're earning tokens for doing things that are better for you or better for society, right? But I think also the connection of the digital world or the metaverse to the real world is also very interesting, right? And this is kind of where GameFi comes into play. Today, I think GameFi, everyone's sitting on their phones and clicking buttons, but imagine a world where Pokemon Go was also had some Web3 incentives or NFTs waiting for you on the other side, right? Maybe you work out in the real world and your metaverse character gets stronger, or vice versa, right? Where you do something in the digital world and you earn an airdrop or a free asset in the real world, right? So the connection of what you do in the real world or what you do in the metaverse, it's all based on incentives. And I think this is a really interesting thing to work on with the future of GameFi builders is to think about how do we gamify real world activities in a way that accentuates the games that people play in the digital world and also vice versa, right? So I do really like that point, Mary.
yeah. I mean, it's for me, it's still a little bit futuristic, to be honest, with the metaverse and everything. But I think it's not too far away because everyone is talking about it, and lots of new metaverses are popping up, and it's just a matter of time when we will like choose the big ones that we want to be in, I guess, or there might be someone who connects all the metaverses so we can jump around in all of them at the same time. But yeah,
Yeah.
we'll see. I do have some questions from the audience, and also we have some hands raised. And I know you don't have unlimited time today, Larry. So is there something that you feel like, oh my God, I wish she asked this, so I could tell about that? Is there something that we really missed?
No, I think you did a great job asking these questions. I just challenge everyone to think, this is such a brand new space, right? I really do think that
Hmm.
everyone is in crypto now that cares about finance is in DeFi. Everyone that cares about collectibles is in NFTs. Everyone that cares about governance is in DAOs. But there's a huge population in the world today that doesn't care about any of that stuff, but they do things in the real world on a daily basis. And I think by building applications that properly incentivize people to improve their lives or to submit data that's valuable, we can start to see the next million or billion users come into Web3 through this new kind of design space, this real world to Web3 connection, right? So not trying to discount any of the progress or innovation that's been going on in DeFi, GameFi, DAOs, etc. But this is a brand new category, almost an untapped sector for Web3. And IoTeX has been working on it for the past 5 years. Is really just amazing and heartwarming to see that people are finally starting to care about what we've been doing. And I really do think this is going to start the next big wave of new applications that are going to redefine what Web3 can do.
Yes, I agree with that. And I have a question from RH here. He wants to know what will be IoTech's main focus of revenue to grow the IoTeX ecosystem?
The main source of revenue, it's an interesting question. It's a hard question to answer from a layer one perspective, right? Like, what is Ethereum's revenue? Ethereum is a decentralized protocol with a whole set of stakeholders, from users to miners to application builders to researchers, et cetera, right? So the revenues and what we focus on is how many applications can we power with IoTeX, and how many of those applications will be around to stand the test of time, right? From like a revenue perspective, you can think about the number of gas fees that are charged or the amount of IoTeX tokens that are used to process transactions or claim block space, or to process smart contracts as a form of revenue. But those revenues are not going into the IoTeX treasury. Those are kind of redistributed back to delegates and stakeholders, right? We purely focus these days on how do we build technology that allows application builders to create brand new things that will help them earn revenue. So their revenue means more, or their growth in users means our growth in activity on the layer one, and the more dApps, devices, and data that are being processed by the IoTeX network, the more value the IoTeX token will have, and the IoTeX network will have. So that's kind of how we approach that question.
Very good. Yeah, someone was asking in the chat section here about the security. How do you keep it secure? How do you keep everyone's, yeah.
Yeah, and that's a really important question, right? I think security and verifiability and trust, by expanding this design space outside of just blockchain into the device world, we also have to trust our devices, right? It's kind of like the Oracle problem that Chainlink experiences a lot. If you don't trust the data source and you use that to settle some type of financial transaction, then how can you trust that financial transaction was settled in the correct way,
Yeah.
right? And for IoTeX, we focus a lot on both software-based verification and also hardware-based verification. You think about your phone today, you unlock it with your fingerprint or your Face ID. The reason why you trust your phone to do that is there's a very special chip in there called a secure element, or a trusted execution environment, that will protect your keys, protect your biometrics in a way that's kind of a hardware version of a smart contract, right? It's supposed to be tamper-proof, and the combination of tamper-proof hardware and tamper-proof software in the form of blockchain will enable these tamper-proof applications to happen, right? So we think a lot about security. I think the proof is in the pudding on the blockchain side. The blockchain has never stalled, never gone down. But on the hardware side of things as well, we have to protect our users' data in a way, and in a way that makes them trust the platform itself. So there's a lot of hardware-based verification. And for UCAM and for Pebble Tracker, there's a lot of white papers online. You can dig into the smart contract plus secure element architectures that we've invented. But all of the things we do at IoTeX are very research-based as well. So I'm probably not the best person to dive deep into the technology about the hardware side of things, but a lot of documentation online you can dig into.
Mm-hmm. Because it's not you who own the data either, then it's me, myself. I own my own data. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's really the important piece of another pillar of our platform is called decentralized identity. It's the concept that you can own your identity and you can own not only the data about yourself, but also the data about your devices, right? So
Mm.
you have the choice to keep that data private, share it with people in a trusted way, or to submit it to a decentralized application in order to earn rewards, right? So just like the whole space is evolving, everyone's looking into zero knowledge proofs and different ways to verify um, maybe DeFi balances without exposing the raw data. The same thing applies for all the data coming from our devices today. In the on the WebStream roadmap, there's a very important piece of the roadmap that's about zero knowledge proofs and confidential computing. Basically, you're able to prove that you've done something in the real world without exposing the unnecessary details, right? And that's really what WebStream as an off-chain computing infrastructure allows people to build. So we're really excited. Anyone working in that space, please do reach out. It's a team effort. IoTeX is here to provide a lot of important pieces of infrastructure to the Web3 sector, but this is really a team effort, to combine zero knowledge plus IoT plus blockchain plus DeFi all together into brand new applications.
So you can basically sell your data but remain anonymous, which is
Yeah.
what many people want to like give their data up to maybe science or help the people in the future or well medical things, but they don't want to be exposed or picked out, So that's a really good thing.
Yeah.
Let's see if we have some. I'm going to unmute some people. Let's see. How much time do you still have, Larry? Do you have to go, be somewhere, or?
I got another 10 minutes or so.
Okay. I will unmute two people. First, we have North, and then Jay. North. Takes a while for Twitter to connect people. I think you can talk now, North. Do you have a question?
Yes, yes, yes. So, thank you very much, Mary. So, Larry, when you said something about selling our own data with our own choice of time and when we want to sell, so I noticed that most of these projects or most platforms actually sell data cookies. They don't like sell the data, but they sell our data cookies. That's everything we've done. Everything we've done. This kind of sell these data to other platforms secretly, although they don't tell us. Like most times when you visit a platform, you start getting ads about what you just researched about on every other social media you enter. So I want to know, like, how sure are we that this same thing would not happen in your project? And secondly, talking about selling of data, would it be like I can make my data in a form of NFT and sell to other individuals, or how do you want to go about that?
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. Like every single thing you subscribe to today, whether it's your cellular provider or your computer, websites you visit, social media platforms you visit, there's metadata being collected about your activities. Even your telco today knows exactly where you are, right? Maybe it's denominated in your phone number instead of your personally identifiable information, but all of this metadata is being collected about us 24/7 today, right? And that's really where, the need to have devices that are owned by you and not funneling data into a cloud that you have no access or it's just a black box, right? If at the point your device is sending data to any cloud, then you don't have control of that anymore, right? I think there's different phases of the roadmap we're going to see. First, it is going to be co-owning the data along with the um, the cloud providers, right? So right now, for your health data from your Apple Watch, you don't have a copy of that, right? So having a copy of that alongside Apple is probably the first step, and that's what you saw with companies like Steppen, which they're not really focused so much on exclusive ownership of data for now, but at least you have a copy of that you can use to pick up your own incentives and your own rewards. But what's really the long-term goal and long-term vision of blockchain and IoT? And this is going to be a long journey to make this fully happen, as is the case with a lot of things with blockchain today, is exclusive ownership of your data, right? Where everyone will maybe have their own personal data locker in the form of a decentralized identity. I encourage everyone to look into decentralized identities because that's really going to be the foundation for a lot of data ownership from a user's perspective. You see Jack Dorsey endorsing decentralized identities a lot for the Web3, sorry, for the social media space. So same concept for devices. If all the devices have a decentralized identity where it's not owned by Google, not owned by Amazon, then you have full control over the data that's associated with that decentralized identity. You can decide what to do with it. You can sell it, you can transfer it, you can keep it absolutely private. So these are very important phases of the roadmap. But yeah, it's crazy to think, there's a huge Netflix documentary that came out about social media and what all these big social media platforms are doing with our data. But until there's an alternative, then people are going to keep on using these free products to communicate and engage with their friends. But what we're talking about is building the same functionality, but in a more user-centric way. And that's really a combination of all these things we're talking about today, from the hardware side, from the blockchain side, from the decentralized identity side. So all of these pillars are going to be very important in this journey.
Yeah, yeah. I actually watched the documentary. That was why I asked this question, that documentary from Netflix. And about the aspect of tokenization of data, I was asking if we could actually like make this data like an on-chain, just how NFT is, like putting them on chain where we can sell them and transfer ownership.
Can you repeat that question? Sorry.
Yeah, I said for the data, like if since we can actually control our data, so can we like make this data available as on-chain assets where we could sell off to any individual?
Yeah, there's different forms of that. I don't think NFTs are the right form factor to do this because NFTs are all public, right? If you put an NFT JPEG on IPFS, then everyone's going to have access to that. It's really just about who owns that data, right? Or who owns that JPEG. But there's other ways to do this, right? Like one important um, use case for us is the concept of a decentralized data pool. And um, this is very similar to a DEX or a liquidity pool in a decentralized exchange today, right? Where in a decentralized exchange, people like you and me can crowdsource our liquidity together. And if I put in $10, you put in $10 of cryptocurrency, then we get something called a liquidity pool token that denominates our share of the underlying liquidity. And anytime someone trades on top of our liquidity pool, then we get a cut of the profits, right? So imagine if we all have standardized data sets from our devices, call it healthcare data, and it's anonymized and pseudonymous, but we put all of that data together into a data pool and we earn something called a data pool token that denominates our contributions to this large data product. Anytime an AI or a machine learning engineer wants to query our data pool, or someone wants to subscribe to that data set, or someone wants to buy that data set outright for their research purposes, then we, as the people that help to create that data product, also earn a piece of that revenue, right? And I think there's a lot of stories that show that how this works in the Web2 space. There's a really big company called 23andMe. I'm sure everyone's heard of it, where you spit in a cup, you send it to them, and they'll tell you, hey, you are 99% Asian and 1% white, and tell you some facts about your genetic data. Well, 23andMe took that entire database and sold it for $1 billion. And the people that contributed their genetic data didn't receive any of that, right? So we're talking about creating the same kind of model, except in a way that benefits users and makes sure the attribution of who contributed what to these data products also reflects in who receives revenues or profits for their contributions.
All right, all right.
That's
Thank you. I
amazing.
totally love the perspective and everything. Thank you, Mary.
No
Thank you,
problem.
Noah. Thank you. The other person I unmuted left, I think. I don't know. But the time flies, and I wanted to just ask you a little bit, if you have time, about the partners, because it seems to me you have lots of big partners.
Yeah,
Are you looking for
absolutely.
more partners all the time, or as you
Yeah,
made a
absolutely.
call out?
We have a we do have a lot of partners. Everything from applications that build on us, I feel are the most important partners. But also, again, this Web3 space is not about building these giant vertically integrated silos, right? You look at Amazon, you look at Google, you look at Microsoft, all of them have their own versions of the same products. And the reason
Yeah.
for that is they want to build these silos where they capture all the value and don't share it with anyone, right? Web3 is different. It's open source, right? So we always look for partners that any technology that they provide that can help our application builders do something easier, do something more securely, or do something brand new, it stretches across the board, right? From different data providers to data marketplaces, even, right? We're infrastructure, and we want to partner with people like Ocean Protocol to have their data marketplaces list the data from our users, or even combining our device data with the data from Chainlink in order to realize more contextual data insights, or working with Anchor to provide more reliable RPC services to our platform and our applications. So we partner with all types of companies, but I think some are service providers that we partner with to introduce new services to our platform and our builders, and others are just application builders, that want to build on top of our infrastructure. I think what is really, really interesting for the future of IoTeX is when our application builders start to partner with each other, right? Just in the healthcare space alone, we're working with a number of different healthcare applications that focus on different types of health data, right? In the health sector, there's wellness data, which is kind of your steps, your calories, your heart rate, your sleep. Then you have your genetic data, which is what, kind of like the 23andMe style data. Then you have your cognitive data, which is your brain waves, even your sexual health data, or your, all different types of health data, right? And, what we're really talking about is putting together the assets and the data for many, many people across the world. But, if you think backwards from how do we create a valuable data product that's desired, it's really about combining all sorts of health data together under one digital health profile, right? That has time series. It's a longer duration. It's not just like a daily snapshot. Maybe it's 1 year of health data, and it also has statistical significance, meaning there's a large sample size for this data, right? And then finally, if you can combine all sorts of data to say, hey, by working out and increasing the number of calories you burn every day, how does that impact your brain waves? Or how does that impact your sexual health? How does that impact your genetic health? There's all sorts of relationships you can draw between data in the health vertical. And
And
if you
maybe
think
also
about,
where you
Mhm.
live can
Yeah,
impact also where you live and how you live.
exactly. Even air quality data from a weather station can also determine, hey, you're being unhealthy, you're doing everything right, but you live in an area where the air quality is bad, so you need to fix that, right? So that's even a category of data that doesn't have anything to do with health in the traditional sense, but you can start to draw a lot of interesting insights, right? And raw data is not really valuable today. It's really the insights you can glean from that raw data that is what is interesting to people, right? And let me just leave you guys with one last thing. It's kind of we're talking a lot about the human body, right? But if you think about a smart city as similar to a human body, and a smart city has traffic data, it has weather data, it has foot traffic data, it has street light data, it has energy usage data. Smart cities are organisms themselves, and we're also working with a lot of very cool smart city companies that are working on their specific data. Some are capturing the number of cars and bicycles and people that walk by with cameras and LiDAR gateways. Some are focused on weather stations. Some are focused on telco related things. But I think maybe not something that's going to happen in the next year, but looking forward, the opportunity for all these people to partner together and put their data together to create even richer data products. I see that as a huge opportunity for the future of this real world in Web3 space.
Yeah, that's great, Larry. I think I must say I thank you so much for coming on here and telling us about this. I feel like we only scratch on the surface of this big project, and I'm very happy to get to know it. And now I know where to find more knowledge about it, so I can learn more. Because I think this is the future, whether we like it or not. this is where we're going to go. If not something really different happens in the world, who knows? But I think I talk for many people in here who was listening also today that it was really interesting to get to know this project. And I don't think too many, everyone didn't know about it before, but now we know, and now we can look more into it. And thank you so much for coming and telling us about this.
Yeah, no problem. Anyone that wants to learn more about IoTeX or WebStream, check out our website, iotex.io. Give us a follow on Twitter, iotex_io. And yeah, a lot of new developments and announcements coming in the next couple months that will contextualize some of the things we talked about on this Twitter Spaces today. But really appreciate everyone joining and listening in. I had a great time.
Yeah, so great to have you, Larry. And I feel you have to come back at, at some point. And I have
Yeah,
one last question for you. Do
sure.
you eat pineapple on your pizza or not?
Do I eat pineapple on my pizza? No, I hate that, to be honest. But
Really? Okay.
yeah, uh, but I love, look, I love pineapple. It's my favorite fruit, actually. So I think mixing it with anything just detracts from my feeling of eating pineapple alone. So I'll eat
Okay.
pineapple on pizza, but it's kind of, yeah, I think you know what I mean.
It's not your favorite.
Yes, exactly.
All right. Thank you so much for coming, Larry. And thank you
Thank you,
everyone
guys.
in here. And ask your questions over at their socials. So I'm sure they will answer them.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Have a good day, guys. Bye.
Thank you. And have a good whatever, guys, wherever you are. I hope to see you soon. Actually, in half an hour, I will see some of you, I hope, because we have another Twitter space coming up. No, we don't have a Twitter space. Sorry, we have a Telegram, Amy, over at Crypto Miners. So thank you for tuning in at Crypto Miners. And yeah, hope to see all of you very soon. Bye, guys.